This episode of Backpack America is going to be a little different, and I'm guessing you're watching it so you can find out the location of Forrest Fenn's treasure. So, without further ado, I will tell you. Location of Forrest Fenn's treasure. There's a whole big story behind that, you know, my personal story, I guess, but I don't think anybody's really interested in that. So I'm just going to give you the location of the treasure, I guess. And the best way, the only way really to find it is Forrest Fenn's poem, which I'm going to put in the description below. It's all over the internet, you can find it pretty easy. So most people start it, you know, first clue they think is where the warm waters halt. I'm just going to start there. Where the warm waters halt. Warm waters are thermal, and halt is, well, you want to go back to Greek history. It's where, you know that movie 300, where the Spartans stopped? Yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. So, Thermopolis is where warm waters halt. And if you look around the internet, Forrest Fenn actually released his own map for the treasure hunt. And if you look smack dab in the middle, one of the only things right there is Thermopolis. Anyway, that's where it starts. So you start there. Thermopolis. It says, take it in the canyon down. I forget. I didn't, think ahead and have this poem written out or print it out in front of me. So anyway, take it in the canyon down means go south in the Wind River Canyon along Route 20, U.S. Route 20, until you get to the home of Brown, which is Boysen Reservoir. Boysen Reservoir is a man-made lake. They got an earth-filled dam there that blocks up the Wind River, forms the lake. Anyway, if you go to the reservoir, you've gone too far. It's kind of what he says in the poem. So you put in below the home of Brown. They stock the lake with brown trout. I'm guessing that's why I said home of Brown. Anyway, moving on. You put in at the river. That means, put your kayak in, whatever, which, legal disclaimer, you cannot do. Between the dam at Boysen Reservoir and Wetting of the Waters, which is much closer to Thermopolis, there is no rafting, no canoeing, no kayaking, nothing of the sort in that section, which is where the poem tells you to go. So there's that risk associated with finding or getting to the treasure. But anyway, let's assume you do go in the water, and the water takes you back up north, back towards Thermopolis, which is, what you're supposed to do. On the left-hand side, you got, Boysen Peak and all that stuff on the left. You got railroad tracks following alongside there. You're going down Wind River towards Wetting of the Waters, and you got, Highway 20 or US 20 on your right. You go up there. The next clue in the poem that I'm going to get to, because whatever, like I said, I don't have the poem in front of me, so I can't remember it, is the end is ever drawing nigh. And people think it has something to do with a cemetery or something. It doesn't. It's simply because you're looking for Johnson Draw. Johnson Draw is one of the second or third draw up on the left. That's where you got to go to. And there's no paddle up your creek because the draw does not have enough water to be a river coming in to feed the Wind River. But it's all eroded, and you know what a draw is. Anyway, if you look on Google Maps, you can actually see Johnson Draw, and you can get a really good view of the area. The fisheye lens that they use for the Google car that drove down US 20 is not the greatest, so it gives a little odd perspective to the thing. But, as I said, railroad tracks are right there. So under heavy loads, you go under the railroad tracks, which is how you get into Johnson Draw. And water high. Well, the water high thing is because as you go up Johnson Draw all the way to the very back, there's so many places to hide a treasure in there, it's insane. But you go all the way to the back and you look up, there's water dripping because Boysen Peak has a bunch of, I guess, snow melt and stuff that gets up there, and it pools up in certain areas. So there's one section at the end of Johnson Draw is an overhanging cliff, and the water is pooled up on top, and it drips down, almost like a waterfall, but, drips, not a pouring stream, and not enough to form a stream all the way out, but enough to erode Johnson Draw. So you get the picture. Anyway, you come to the end of Johnson Draw. It's a concave cliff face. And in the cliff face, if you look, is an owl cave. And about 35 feet up. Yeah. So there's a ladder there. You want to climb up. You want to look in the owl cave, get the treasure. It's cool. The problem is the Forrest Fenn Treasure is on the Wind River location, you know, which is Native American tribal land now. So despite being broke and homeless and, you know, just a random drifter, it's not my money. You know, it's on their land. And it's one of the last lines of the poem says, if you're brave and in the wood, you know, the treasure's there for you, some stuff. Anyway, I take that to mean that the treasure's there for them. You know, some people said that Forrest Fenn might feel guilty about, you know, archaeological digs and stuff he did, so maybe he's giving it back. I don't know. Anyway, that's where it is. Owl Cave at the end of Johnson Draw, just south of Thermopolis, across the river from, well, across the Wind River, across from US 20, up there in the cave, which is actually really easy to get to, because if you go to top of Boysen Peak and you walk down, much easier. But you can't get there because that's tribal land, and that's all fenced off and blocked off and whatever. But that's the way Forrest would have brought it in. He would have drove to the top of the road before they closed off the roads, which are just gated off anyway. Anyway, he could bring the treasure in 2 sections downhill, bringing all the heavyweight downhill to the cave. They go up empty-handed, get another section of the treasure, like he said in the Moby Dickens bookshop thing, interview or whatever, speaking thing that he had. Anyway, that is the location of Forrest Fenn's treasure, and what you do with that information is up to you. I hope you go get $1 million or $2 million or whatever it's at now. It's a bunch of gold and emeralds and stuff, I guess. I just want to be known as the guy that, you know, gave this information out. The guy who had no money and yet didn't go get $1 million. Because it's not mine. It's, you know, the tribes. The Wind River Reservation. It belongs to whoever's there. What is it? Eastern Arapaho and Northern Shoshone, I think. It's theirs. So, they deserve it. They should go get it. And they should make the site a, you know, a location to visit. You know, a travel destination. Hey, come see the location of Forrest Fenn's treasure and learn the history of this area, because that's really interesting over there. Some of those caves where people hid and stuff, and yeah, that's awesome stuff over there. Definitely check it out. If you've never been to Thermopolis, definitely go check that out. That is amazing. I soaked in the baths up there for a few days. I really like that area. Definitely going to get back there more. Just, you know, March into April, it was still snowing and, you know, all that crap. And I'm poor and I got no money and I had to hitchhike out of there back to Casper and then down to Denver. Blah, blah, a bunch of crap, you know, that homeless people have to deal with, thumbing around the country. That's the stuff I like. Besides, if I took $1 million from Forrest Fenn, that treasure, if I took it from the Eastern Arapaho or, you know, the Wind River Reservation, then I wouldn't be able to be homeless. You know, I'd have all this money. I'd probably just get fat and lazy. Ugh. So go get the treasure. Do me a favor. Go get the treasure. Don't leave it up here in my mind. All right? Take care. Backpack America. Clean shave. That's me. I'm clean shave. That's stupid. Don't do that.